What's up, gang? Thanks for coming out today. We appreciate it. Who's got the first question? John Morgan.
Hey, Stipe, this is a historic fight for you in a lot of ways. You know, you win this, you'll have more heavyweight title fight victories than anybody in UFC history. I'm just curious, will that be enough for you to finally get some respect at the firehouse, man? They give you no love there whatsoever. Will this finally get it?
No, man. Never going to change. They're going to make me clean toilets, mop floors, clean the trucks. And, that's what I love about them, man. They don't treat me any different. And I wish they did. But, I'm still lowest man on the totem pole, working my way up. So maybe one day.
Yeah. Listen,
it's crazy. I was just talking to him back there. I said, they give you some time off leading up to this fight? He said, I just worked Friday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I was going to say, I know what a humble guy you are, man, but, people are talking about you as the greatest of all time, and not just in the UFC, in all of mixed martial arts. When you hear that, what do you think?
It's great. It means I'm doing something right. It means my coaches are doing something right. It's not just me. It's, my team. We're in it together. We sacrificed so much to get here, and, we ain't stopping.
Yeah. This is a huge rematch, of course. You dominated him the first time you guys fought. That night, did you think, man, this is a guy I'm probably going to have to see again at some point in my career? Did you think you sent a statement enough that night that, like, hey, we know who the better fighter is here?
I hope so. But he's definitely gotten better. We all evolve, and he's definitely evolved. And, of course, I knew I would probably see him down the road again. And, listen, it's going to be a hell of a fight Saturday.
Yeah, no question. Of course, you've had the trilogy with Cormier in between. I'm curious, did that experience give you anything that you can take into this, right? Like what adjustments can be made in a rematch, how people adjust to you, what's different in a guy when you see him repeatedly. Did you take any lessons out of that series?
Yeah, it took a lot of things. I think every fight, win or lose, you learn. And but especially those fights, they were grueling fights. And DC is one of the best of all time. He's an amazing fighter, amazing ambassador, like I always say. And I definitely take a lot of things from that fight. Changing things up and just seeing what's happening. And he's real crafty. He's a good dude.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Stipe. It seems that a win here and John Jones is next. That seems to be what's lurking out there. Dana has said that he thinks John deserves a title shot right away. I'm just curious if you think he deserves a title shot right away, and if that excites you. Does that feel like a super fight to you, or is it just just the next guy in line?
Well, if that was my decision, I wouldn't be fighting. I would be a matchmaker. I feel like I would be doing that. But it's great. John Jones moving up. There's new guys in the division. A lot of new guys are coming up. But right now, my focus is on Saturday. That's all I care about. And once take care of business on Saturday, then we'll look into it.
Thanks, Stipe. Francis, for you, I did want to ask. When you think back to that first fight, how do you remember it? Is it a night that you think, man, that was me having a terrible night, or did you just look and say, that guy was the better fighter that night?
I remember that fight from the preparation, and obviously I'm not taking credit of Stipe. He was a better fighter that night, but when I look at that fight, I hate watch that fight because I don't recognize myself. Even the way that I'm fighting, the way that I'm rushing, it doesn't. That guy looked like me, but I don't recognize that style. And also, I did a lot of mistake leading up to that fight. I wasn't even there myself, I kind of like, I didn't even have an emotion in that fight. I don't know. I was just there, like, lack of emotion. But this time, things will be different. I had enough time. Me and my team will put everything down right, and I think it's going to be right.
Your goal, obviously, was to get back to the heavyweight title. As you were working back here, were you hoping that he was the guy that still had the belt? Like, did it matter to you who you got the belt from when it finally came?
Absolutely. I always wanted to have this fight for the title against Stipe because, as you said, he made a point that he's a better fighter, and I want to avenge that and prove that I'm the best.
And I think all of us are trying to say, where would the biggest difference be? Like, how does this go differently? So when you talk about your evolution, is there one point that you think is the biggest, whether it be, your wrestling is better now, whether it be the psychology, the mindset, the game plan? What is the biggest difference between fight one and the rematch?
Oh, there's a difference in all of the aspects. I remember leading up to that fight, I was thinking about how he feels to fight 3-round fight. I had a lot of questions unanswered. I didn't have any experience on that, and even if I lost that night, I came back. There was a part of me who wasn't happy, but satisfied for the fact that okay, I can do it. If I make it right, I can get there, and I don't have that concern anymore. I had a better preparation this time, and I have that experience and all what we'll be working on. I put some good work on my wrestling, jiu-jitsu, even striking. So yeah, I think skill-wise, I have improved a lot, and I still have a lot of place to move in this sport. I might be 34 years old, but I believe that I'm very young in the sport, and I have a lot of place to grow.
Nice. Thanks, Francis. Dana, I want to ask you, it's kind of, this event's kind of the end of an era, right? I mean, the pay-per-views at the Apex, you've announced the next 2 shows are going to be in front of full crowds. Is that the plan moving forward now? I mean, are we back to or is it just those 2 shows in particular?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go everywhere that they're willing to sell out. So right now, we had the pre-sale in Jacksonville. We broke the arena record already. So I expect this thing to go on sale tomorrow and sell out in seconds. And we broke the arena record on the pre-sale.
Will we still do fight nights here at the Apex, or is it just pay-per-views? What's the plan right now?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm willing to go anywhere that we can sell out. And, we got the next 2 shows lined up. And, I was saying this morning to people, everybody's talking about, they're first. They're not first. We're first. Nobody's going to do it like we're going to do it. They're talking outdoor arenas. Most of them probably won't sell out. Social distancing, all that stuff. We're selling out an arena, packed, record-breaking. I'm excited. And I'm going to go everywhere that people want to do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what got you ready to pull the trigger? You've been saying all along, we're going to be first back.
I tried to move this fight.
Did you really?
Yeah, this fight was going to be there. No. Yeah, this fight was supposed to be there.
So you weren't joking when you said you might
I
do it.
definitely wasn't joking. I really tried to do it.
So what got you to finally say we're ready? We're ready.
I've been ready.
Fair enough. Last thing, Dana, I want to ask you, I know we're talking about 260, but we haven't seen you since the Habib news became official. So I did want to ask you, the GOAT walking away, what made you finally accept it and go, all right, you're done? Yeah, no, listen, I told you I was gonna hammer on him for a while and try to get him to come back and fight. We got together. We had some great talks. We talked about lots of things, and he's ready to retire, and I think he's done. I don't think he'll come back. Last thing for me, I did want to ask how we came to Chandler Oliveira. A lot of people thought maybe Poirier deserved to be in there. Then you got Gaethje feeling a little left out in the cold right now. So how did that become the fight? Like Stipe said, a lot of people don't make those fights. We do, so. That's my answer.
Hey, Stipe. When it's all said and done, and say things go right for you this Saturday night, which would you look back on more fondly, beating Daniel Cormier twice or beating Francis Ngannou twice?
Good question. Well, it's going to go right on Saturday, but a win's a win, man. The trilogy with DC was awesome. It was like a love-hate relationship. We were on and off. But with Francis, he's such an amazing fighter, and he's gotten better, and he's been taking people out left and right. I don't know. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Thanks very much. Do you think, leading into the first fight with Francis, obviously he was built up as this big destroyer, and he had this certain mystique to him. Do you think by defeating him that night, you took away a bit of that mystique?
No, I think we're right back where it's square one. I think same thing. Nothing's changed. He's shown promise. He's gotten way better. He's got a great coaches and teammates, and he's definitely he's evolved. You can tell, and so I'm here to extinguish it again.
In terms of dealing with him and being next to him up there today, do you feel, he says that he's more prepared for this fight, do you feel a different energy from Francis this time? Do you think he was maybe overconfident the first time?
I don't know if he was overconfident, but I definitely know he's prepared. He has great coaches, like I said, and he's got the hunger, he's got the drive, he wants it. So he's definitely gotten better. He definitely evolved, and I can see that. He's seeing the videos and his interviews and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%.
And for Francis, we know how the sport usually works. Do you believe if you defeat Stipe on Saturday night, you will have to fight him again for a third time?
I don't know about that. As Dana just said, I don't make a fight. I'm just a fighter.
And Dana, for you, we end up with Michael Chandler versus Oliveira for the lightweight title. Did Khabib have any input into who was going to fight for the belt?
No. Listen, if he'd have stayed, he'd have had some input, but no.
We see so many fighters walk away in this sport and then eventually a few years later come back, but you just said that you really don't believe he'll ever return. Why is that, do you think?
I think that when you see some of these guys come back, I think it's monetary. I think it's for money. And Khabib isn't going to need any money anytime soon. So, I just, in the conversation, the last dinner that we just had, I feel like he's done. He feels like it's like his fighting was a lot of pressure on his parents, and then what just went down with his dad, and now he's looking at his mom saying, I just can't do this to my mother.
Thanks very much.
Down here for Stipe. Obviously, Francis has improved a lot, evolved a lot. You've said as much. But what have you improved upon, and how have you evolved over the last couple of years?
I improved a lot of things. I have the best coaches and teammates in the world. I work on everything every day. Working on my holes. I don't care who you are. You have holes in your game, no matter how skilled you are. I feel like I'm wine. The older I get, the better. Is that it is? Like wine, older it gets, better it gets. Yeah. Okay. It's just like fine wine.
Got it. And Francis, there's always a debate about who's the best heavyweight of all time, and who are some of the best.
There was. I think it's over now, but yeah.
For sure, and that's what I wanted to ask you, Francis. Do you think Stipe has cemented himself right now as the best heavyweight of all time?
Well, his record says itself. You can argue about that. He's the most. He has defended more titles in the UFC heavyweight division than anyone else. I might go for change it, but as for now, yes, he has it.
Got it. And then just for Dana, got some news yesterday that Miocic Tate is coming back, former UFC women's bantamweight champion. How did that all come together?
She reached out and said that she wanted to come back, and I was just saying, usually people come back for they need the money or whatever it is. I don't know honestly don't know, what her reason is, but when she left, she went out. Women are kind of different when they retire. She went out and started a family, and I told her, I talked about this morning in an interview, but I haven't talked to her face to face about this. But I told her after her last fight, she got her nose fixed. I told her not to fix her nose. You wait till after when you're done fighting, I'll fix your nose. We'll get your nose taken care of. You go to the best guy in LA and get your nose done, whatever. She did it, and then she fought Amanda Nunes. And you'll see in that fight, Amanda Nunes punches her right in the nose, and you saw her fold I saw it happen right there the night of the fight. So she went. She had a family. She said 5 years now. I guarantee her nose is a lot better. So this actually. It'll be interesting to see how she does, I think she's going to do well.
Miocic, of course, is kind of forever linked with Ronda Rousey. Have you spoken to Ronda lately at all?
Yesterday. Yeah.
About what?
No, it's not. Don't even fucking start, you guys.
Just
Yesterday about lots of different things, not this. But yes, we talked yesterday. I'm absolutely positively not coming back, ever.
What did she think of Miocic coming back?
She didn't say. We didn't talk about that. Yeah, I don't even think she knows.
With Chandler fighting Oliveira now, is it safe to say that Dustin versus Conor 3 is kind of in the offing coming up?
Yeah. So when you asked about, Dustin wants the rematch. That's smart. That's what he should do. He should take the rematch, take that fight. It's a big fight for him. Kid's worked hard his whole life, his whole career to be in a position like this, and that's the fight you take. We've been in positions like this before with others who've made the mistake of not taking that fight, and biggest mistake of their lives.
July, maybe?
Yeah, it could be July. July makes sense in that ballpark.
And then just last thing for me, where does Justin Gaethje kind of fit in all this now? Because there are a lot.
He fits very well in all this. So after this plays out, he's probably next in line. I mean, it depends on what happens with Dustin and Conor. And I mean, you know how that is. Timing is everything. when these fights happen. How much damage did the guy who won take, and how long did what kind of personal shit does he have going on, and all that stuff factors into when the next fight would be. So, but I mean, Justin Gaethje couldn't be in a better position.
Thanks.
Yep.
Stipe back here. Not outside of the title defense record and being the champion, you hold a lot of the UFC heavyweight records in general, like most post-fight bonuses, most strikes landed in a fight, so on and so forth. Is there any record that you really point to and say, I'm very proud of this specific record that I have?
I have no idea what records I have. I swear to God.
No,
You just told me a couple of them. I mean, I think I heard the post-fight ones. I had the strike one until Max selfishly broke it. But I mean, we all like Max, so. But yeah, that's the only one I really know about. I mean, I don't really worry about the records, man. I worry about winning. That's all I care about.
You got the record for most title defenses, most post-fight bonuses in heavyweight history, and most strikes landed in the UFC heavyweight history.
Cool. Well, there.
There you go.
Thank you.
And then not only have you defeated Francis the first time, you lasted pretty, like, his last few opponents, they don't last 2 minutes, then they go away. So if you are watching these fights, are you seeing something, this one mistake that Francis' opponents keep making that you know you can take advantage of?
Yeah, of course. Just like his coaches are watching me fight, and they can see there's holes in my game. I mean, it's a chess game, man. That's all it is. And I think whoever could exploit the one person's move, and they can take it. So definitely we worked hard the last few months, and I've been working at it, and hopefully I can exploit it.
And then a few for Dana. The tagline for this biggest, baddest rematch, the heavyweight division, I think outside of all the divisions, have had these epic trilogy fights between Kane, JDS, you even had Brock and Frank Mir, Stipe and DC. So what sets this apart compared to all those other ones that kind of captivated the fight world?
Two of the biggest, baddest dudes in the heavyweight division ever right here on the stage. And it's always awesome when it's really the heavyweight champion versus the #1 contender. And, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that Francis has worked his way back up to be the #1 contender in the world. So two big, bad monsters. He's obviously better than he was the last time they fought. He's evolved and become a much better fighter, and he always finds a way to win no matter who he's facing.
And then quick one, Dan Hardy's kind of done a few interviews saying that he feels like there's a misconception that you have of him. Have you had the opportunity to speak with him?
That I have one of Dan Hardy?
Yes, these are his words.
Not even a little bit.
And then another quick one. Since UFC 259, when Dominic Cruz kind of talked about his issue with Monster, a lot of other fighters have come out. Is there any change in you and Monster and Hans Molenkamp or anything like that?
Any change in what?
In is Hans still part of it, or?
I have nothing to do. That isn't my company. They're a sponsor, and a damn good one. So they're good to everybody. They're good to us. They're good to the fighters. That's some internal stuff that they need to work on. That's none of my business.
Hey, champ, Stipe, good to see you.
So,
What's the biggest lesson you've learned about yourself fighting DC 3 times?
don't lose to him the first time.
And what can you take from that into fighting Francis a second time?
With the 3 fights with DC, and what I take from that is just being smarter, patient, and just listening to my coaches. And, same thing with Francis, like he's doing. He's listening to his coaches, he's evolving. And that's what I do in that first fight. Just with DC, I kind of went away from the game plan and got caught. It's part of the game, and it is what it is. And so as long as I listen to my coaches and, keep going forward, I'll be good.
The Schmoes got inside scoop that Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, may be in attendance for this fight. It's not Baker Mayfield. It's not the Cleveland Browns. If he's cheering for you, are you going to be a Bengals fan?
Well, I mean, they're from Ohio. I mean, they're not my #1 team, but I mean, yeah. I love that dude. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. That dude's got balls after winning a national title, walking around with a cigar in his mouth. That's baller. I mean, it's pretty sweet.
And taking money on the field.
Did he really? Oh.
Yeah.
Why you bring that up, man?
Question for Francis. After losing to this guy and Derek Lewis, you rallied off 4 first-round knockouts. What was the most difficult part about waiting for this inevitable rematch with Stipe Miocic?
Well, as you said, the most difficult part was waiting. After the Junior Dos Santos fight, I think I thought this fight would happen back then, and it didn't happen until I fought Rosenstruck.
And Miesha Tate returning. She trains at your gym, Extreme Couture. What have you noticed from working with her? She got that hunger in her eyes. What have you seen in training with her?
I don't think I'll be able to answer that because we train together, but you know, in the gym usually like big guys in one side and small guys in one side, and I haven't had a chance to like be there just watching sparring. You know, I'm there sparring by myself. If it was like a big guy, I wouldn't be able to tell to talk about that because sometimes we might be in the cage sparring together.
And last question for Dana. I know John Jones is next. We've already talked about that. But if Francis Ngannou beats Stipe Miocic, does Stipe deserve an immediate trilogy fight?
That's a good one, Shmo. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See how this thing plays out. It'd be tough to say, yeah, to say no, he doesn't deserve the rematch, of course. Yeah, I don't know.
Stipe over here. Stipe, we obviously know about the love you get from your firehouse in Cleveland. I was wondering though, like, you're a pretty high-profile fireman around the world, right? What is the reception you get from the firefighters who aren't at your house and just the support they have? And do you feel like you rep for them around the world?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think I rep well for them. Yeah, every time I go somewhere, if I go to another firehouse, you know, they greet me and it's great. You know, sometimes they don't know who I am, which I'm okay with that too. But some of the, you know, usually the guys do. But it's just great. You know, it's like another brother in a state or a city.
Do you feel like you're the world's most famous fireman?
I don't know. I don't worry about that. I got to worry about changing diapers and stuff, man.
And for Francis Ngannou, Francis, about a month ago, we had Kamaru Usman, and he said right now there's 2 African champions, but if Francis were to win, if they did UFC Africa, you would be the main event. What does it mean to you to have that kind of, your countrymen say he would give you the honor?
Well, it's a pleasure. I mean, Usman is the guy that I know he has my back, you know. When he comes to support, I know the guy is fully behind me and support me, and we support each other. We met the first time in our UFC debut, and since then we became more than a friend, just like family, and that's just a pleasure to have that coming from him. By the way, he's gonna be on my corner. He's gonna corner me, like supporting me, emotional support, and with his expertise. You know, Usman today for me, he stands like an inspiration as well because he's a champion that I'm not yet. So, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? You have a great team here in Vegas. What does Usman bring to help you out ahead of this fight that you could tell us?
Well, I just said emotional support, wrestling expertise, and you know the African community, and.
Finally, for Francis, I think a lot of people in the last few years, when you talk about the best knockout artists, it comes down to mostly 2 people, yourself and maybe Anthony Rumble Johnson. You know that you have a talent for putting fighters away. Do you feel you're the best heavyweight knockout artist or knockout artist in general in UFC history?
I'm not concerned about that because that's not a title. They don't attribute that as a title. The title is to Stipe, and that's what I want. That's where my focus is at.
And real quick for Dana, you've seen a lot of guys who just have that ability to get guys out of there. Does Francis, would you say he's got it the best, or are there other guys who think, you know what, maybe just a little ahead?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know. But when you think about scary guys that hit hard and take your head off, Francis is definitely top of mind. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head who came in here and was scarier than Francis.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Take one more. Go ahead.
Stipe, I know the odds are irrelevant to what goes on in the cage, but you're once again an underdog. We talked about the fact that you're considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. I think most people in here do consider you the best heavyweight of all time, yet still an underdog. I mean, does that get in your head at all? Do you think about that at all and say, like, what do you have to do to be respected at the window?
No, I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I'm used to it at this point, honestly. And just, Vegas hates me, so it's all good.
I mean, what would you have to do to be a favorite in a fight?
I don't know. I really have no idea. I mean, do you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, either does
Yeah.
he. So, I mean, I'm not worried about it. Those are just odds, and odds mean shit to me.
Dana, you're a gambler. I mean, what do you think about the fact that he's?
I think Stipe Miocic people make a lot of money. That's what I think. Everybody who's ever bet on him must love that he's the underdog.
And Francis, for you, you go into this fight. You talk about what happened in the last fight and that you've improved, but you are a favorite in the fight. I mean, does that add any pressure, or do you say, hey, like, I get the respect of having all these knockouts, and they still think I'm, a better fighter?
Guess what? Those who make those odds, they don't fight. They are not in the cage fighting. And I think the last time I was a favorite, but I lost. So I'm not taking anything out of that. It doesn't matter.
Good. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll square these guys off for some photo ops. See you Saturday.